Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Writer Wizard podcast. So, in this episode, I'm going to go over a few things that I've noticed about season 4 Stranger Things. Um, and as I say some of these things, feel free to chime in with any questions, like if you got a counterpoint, and I'll tell you what I think right on the spot. So, Um, I don't know. Should we give people time to funnel in or just start? I guess we'll just start. So, I binge watched season 4, part 1 and part 2, like the second they dropped on Netflix. Um, and then I immediately did like my first thoughts on those as soon as they were done. And in the interim between parts 1 and 2, I watched a lot of people reviewing part 1, and then after part 2, I watched a lot of people reviewing part 2. And there are some things that people keep saying. So this isn't like it's one reviewer saying it. And I went back and I watched myself to see if some of this was actually true. Like, wait a minute, did I miss something here? Did something I was there something I didn't see, or something I didn't hear? So after going back over it, I think there's a lot of people who might be getting things wrong, or at least didn't understand, which seems to be a common thing with people who watch movies and TV shows. They don't pick up on some of the stuff. For example, okay, I mean, here's a pretty easy one. So, a lot of reviewers have been talking about the ability to time travel now in Stranger Things because of the Upside Down. Saying, oh, we're going to go back to a point, and that would just be stupid if we could go back to a point where everybody's safe and nobody's died. Where did I miss this? What is the idea of this time travel? I mean, yes, the Upside Down is stuck in, what was it, like 83? But that's the issue. It's not time travel, it's like a photo. Like Nancy said, her guns don't exist in her room yet. They exist, they're just wherever they were before. But they weren't in her room. That isn't Hawkins. I mean, it is Hawkins from, let's say, 1983, but that's it. It's never going to be 1984. Time isn't moving there. The stuff isn't moving there. And of all the stuff that people have talked about, that whole thing of Hawkins has really been confusing to me because, okay, so if Vecna Henry, or number one, created essentially what is the Upside Down, what we're experiencing, what we see, how did he know what Hawkins was like? He said he woke up in a hospital and he's probably spent his entire life in that building. So my curiosity comes to, how does he know what 1983 Hawkins was like? There's something there. But no, time it's not like you can go back in there, go to that time period, then open a portal to 1983. The thing with Nellie, that wasn't time travel. That was just reliving a memory. So I don't know why people would think there's time travel. They can't go back in time. The show has never once stated they can go back in time. They can only go to that specific point when that alternate Hawkins was created. There's nobody living there except the inhabitants of this other world. It's not like time has kept moving there, or that they've opened a portal to other time periods. Now, maybe, possibly, they could always try to suddenly say that because of the portals that they can like if they're standing in a certain spot, like wherever 11 opened the portal before, maybe that can somehow be reopened to allow them to travel into the past. But I don't think the writers are going to do something that dumb. I mean, nobody wants it. And it hasn't even been suggested on the show. But no, this isn't time travel exactly. This is just there was a time where Hawkins was basically photo flashed and a carbon copy was created in the Upside Down. Every detail at that specific moment was created to serve as I don't even know what. I mean, what did Vecna travel around the town just pretending people were there? Did he treat the Demogorgons like regular people? But no, there is no time travel. So all the reviewers, you keep bringing this up, please stop. Next, another common thing I've often heard about people complaining is Eddie's death. Now, I'm sorry to say, but I kind of have an issue with people trying to cheapen his death. Oh, he's such a great character, they say. I loved his character. By the way, there will be spoilers. So, you have been warned. Sorry. But, I mean, if you're watching a live stream, Q&A, Season 4 of Stranger Things, I would think you would, knowingly know that we're probably going to be having spoilers in this live stream. So, moving on. So yeah, all these reviewers, they keep saying, "Oh, Eddie's death was so messed up. He didn't have to die. There was no reason for him to do what he did." Which to me feels like they're cheapening his death. And it's very upsetting. And I'm not even the writer. And yeah, I mean, okay, so why do I feel that it cheapens his death? Mainly for the fact that if you watch that scene closely and listen with your ears, he puts Dustin through the portal. He's about to go through the portal himself back into our world. And if they can travel through the portal, What's to stop the bats from traveling through the portal? The bats that are currently swarming up inside his trailer. Now you're probably wondering, okay, so they're going to escape. But the point is they were following the boys. Mainly the one that made all that noise, who was Eddie. The reason why Eddie had to do what he did was because of the fact he had to draw them away from the portal. So once Dustin was through, he had to go back and find another way to get them to follow him so they would not go into our world. And it kind of makes me upset that, reviewers, people who have done this longer than I mean, I've always watched movies and stuff, but people who say they do this professionally, people who talk about movies professionally, can't pick up on the concept that, yes, he died a hero and he had to do what he did because he had to lead them away from the open portal that was right there. And that's why he jumped on that bike and raced as far away from that portal as he could get, so the bats would follow him. So that's why Eddie did have to do what he did. There was no other way. It was for the protection of our world. Because it took a while the portal never even truly closed. It still was open. It was still going. But the bats all suddenly died because Vecna was attacked. So, let's see, what else? Oh, Will's birthday. So, a lot of people, and yes, I know the writers have come out and said that they did forget about Will's birthday being March 22nd, I believe it is. It's either March 22nd or March 23rd. But anyways, I know they said they, admitted they forgot that they put that in season 1. But, story-wise, since Will's not upset about it, you can figure that any birthday wishes were just done off screen. We never saw Will wake up that morning. So Joyce could have started the day by making him, a breakfast or something. Maybe they celebrated his birthday before, just, as a family, because maybe Will didn't want to occupy the get together focused on his birthday. So maybe they made plans and said, hey, you know what? We're going to celebrate my birthday before you get here. That way, while you're here, we don't have to worry about it. We can just all spend time and hang out. And, maybe they all talked about that beforehand. There are kids out there that don't want to celebrate their birthday. Maybe Joyce had something planned, but she got sidetracked because Hopper was alive. And yeah, I know she didn't tell the kids that she told them something else. But, I mean, these kids aren't stupid. A Encyclopedia Britannica conference that you suddenly have to go to the very next day. Will knew there was something up. And then all this stuff with 11 is going on. Something's up. And he's probably more than happy, as far as he knew, that his mother was out of the way. I don't think for 1 second he bought that his mother actually went to a conference. So I think they did it. I think they did do something for his birthday. They probably just did it off screen. At least that's my headcanon, I guess you can say. Is that they said their, well wishes off screen. Because as a writer, there is some things that we writers uh, don't do unless it's absolutely needed. We do not put in pointless conversations into our books just to fill time or fill pages because the readers don't want to read that. Yes, like I said, I know that the Duffer Brothers have actually come up and said, yes, they forgot, but for headcanon purposes, you can just factor everybody was like doing it off screen. Yes, I know 11 wanted them at the roller rink, but maybe it was also kind of her birthday gift to Will that they got to all go spend time out at the roller rink, you know? So it's just a matter of how you perceive it, how you take it. Yeah, it would have probably been better maybe if the writers came up with that and actually said that. Would have probably said, hey, yeah, actually they did, and they all just did it off screen. We just didn't feel the need to show it because Will's not a public kind of a person. He's more private, He doesn't care about a fanfare. He's not one of those kids that needs his birthday celebrated out in the public eye. So, let's see what else to talk about. I mean, wow, there's so my question for the general public, when it comes to, I still keep calling him Vecna. I'm sorry. Vecna is a way cooler sounding name than One or Henry. I wonder on the show, what are they going to keep calling him? Are they going to keep calling him Vecna? Or some people said Vecna. Some people said One. Some people said Henry. You know, so I wonder what. That is one thing I'm curious about when it comes to season 5. Is are they gonna lock down one specific name? Or are they gonna be sitting in a room and go, okay, for 2 years we've been using 3 different names for this dude. Let's lock this down now. What is his name? And they're all gonna vote, and Vecna's gonna win, and then he's like, okay, so from this point on, we're just calling him Vecna. I guess, I mean, that's probably a conversation, again, a pointless conversation. Really don't need to have. I think it could just be funny to have. Um, but I do hope they just stick with Vecna because that, like I said, does sound cooler. Um, I would have, you know, let's see, actually. No. Um, so, okay. I guess the next thing I can talk about, and probably the biggest thing I can talk about with this season of Stranger Things also is everybody, saying that Will might be gay or that Will is gay. You know, there's a lot of people talking about that and a lot of people trying to figure it out. I mean, if he's gay, nobody's going to care. I mean, I watched in season 3 when they made Robin gay, and honestly, it kind of ticked me off. I was like, no, you had the perfect person. You were setting her up so perfectly to be the perfect girlfriend for Steve, which he still didn't get a girlfriend in this season. I don't want him to be with Nancy. I don't. Because we do have that history. And you fought so hard to put her with Jonathan. And they finally ended up together at the end of season 2. And they worked so well together once they were on the same page in season 3. And for most of season, well, pretty much the entire of season 4, they were separated. So they couldn't work together. It was beyond their control. But now we're going to be jumping forward, and I would love to see them still together and stronger than ever. But I really wanted Steve to have gotten his own girl. And that is why the whole thing with Robin really upset me. Because it's like she was set up to be the perfect girlfriend. She complimented him, made him stronger, pushed him to his limits, questioned him. She wasn't afraid to speak her mind to him. She was perfect for him. She made him a stronger character, which is honestly what you want to do when you have a couple. You got different kinds of couples, but I mean, that was perfect for Steve. And then they flip the switch and they say, nope, she's gay. They're never going to be together. They're just friends. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? You had the perfect girl for him, and now you're going to do this. So, and I understand there was that scene. You know, I've actually been trying to make a character profile video where I talk about this exact thing with Will and him maybe being gay, and I'm like, you know, I don't know. I was having issues because people keep saying certain things, and it's like, well, yeah, it would be bad. I know that's maybe where the writers have hinted. I think the writers aren't exactly sure if they want to go that route. But here are my thoughts. I'll just tell you what I'm thinking. So, yes, in I think it was the beginning of season 3, there's that whole emotional scene where Mike tells Will basically that he just because he doesn't like girls. Now, here's the thing about Will. Will is a very complex character. He spent, I don't know, what was it, like three days to a week in the Upside Down back in season 1. And after that, after he was saved on the brink of death, you know, not because he was bleeding out, but, you know, he was starving. There wasn't, like, ample food in the Upside Down. Maybe there was water somewhere, but there wasn't like there was tons of food. And he gets brought back by 11. I mean, of course, he didn't know it was probably 11 that helped save him. Well, I mean, it was Joyce and Hopper, I believe, that actually did save him. But I think once he was back, he heard about 11, this strange girl with powers that came and saved them and saved the town and saved, basically helped save Will by killing this Demogorgon thing. And then as you get into season 2, like almost I believe a whole year has passed for Will, and it's actually coming up on the anniversary. So all that time, he's been poked, prodded, questioned a million ways to Sunday, probably. He doesn't have a normal childhood like the rest of his friends. So every second that he wants to hold on to his childhood, it's not because he's gay, it's because he's going through something very emotional that nobody understands. None of his friends have the PTSD that he does. And they even talk about that in those episodes with the new doctor, saying that everything he's talking about is like forms of PTSD. Stuff actual soldiers have gone through. So, why does he act that way? Why does his friends think he doesn't like girls? Because although his body is growing, in his mind, he still wants to be a little boy who plays with his friends playing D&D all day, who draws. He doesn't think kissing is fun because he's still got that child brain. He's still got that thought process of, no, I mean, even some adults now today, even adults who don't have PTSD, have those thoughts where they're like, okay, kissing a girl is kissing a girl, but this is a freaking video game where I blow up the world, This is the best video game ever created. I have a former friend that's like that, who would rather sit in his mom's basement and play Final Fantasy day and night than do anything else with his life. And we got into several arguments because he would talk about how he wants to grow his YouTube channel, but he wanted to play his video game instead. It's like, okay, well, at least why don't you live stream your video game? I don't want to. Well, then that's on you. And so, yeah, Will is stuck with a child with a brain, with the mental capacity of a child that's years behind his friends. And it's slowly catching up, but it's going to take a while. Now, I believe there's more to it, too. And honestly, if the Duffer Brothers were to ever see this video, this is something I really think would be awesome. And it could be explained very well to the fans. I'm sure your fan base is smart enough to get this. But I actually want to see Will come out and say he's in love with 11. Because if you rewatch some of those scenes with the thought of Will loves 11, a lot of the scenes also makes sense in that context. Why did Will start crying in the car after talking Mike up about, his love relationship with Eleven? Why, when he saw what he saw at the pizzeria, did he get so emotional and have that conversation with his brother? Because he's in love with Eleven. At that moment, when he's watching Mike and Eleven together, it's not Mike he's looking at, it's Eleven. He wishes that she looked at him that way, that she was having a good time with him in that way. Now, why would he possibly be interested in Eleven? Well, as I said earlier, Eleven was a big factor in saving him from the Upside Down. Vecna was in his mind, and Vecna thought about Eleven. I'm going to get to the point where I think Vecna had a crush on Eleven too, which is very creepy, but I think it was more a power couple love that Vecna had, but we'll get there. So anyways, then when he finally got back, all his friends kept talking about, probably, was Eleven. So this girl, who he never met, who was very big part of his life, even though he's never met her, she was up on this pedestal. And he's like, it would be, in his mind, he's thinking, wow, this girl sounds amazing. This girl sounds like the coolest girl in the universe. I would love to meet her. I would love to know her, to thank her. And finally, when season 3 came around, he wanted to go off with Eleven. He wanted to go meet her. But because she was in hiding, he couldn't. It doesn't sound like anybody until Max actually got to spend time with Eleven except Mike. Mike was keeping her all to himself. And I think in some part, Will was jealous, a little jealous. Maybe he didn't understand why, but he wanted to meet her so badly. This girl who was so important in saving his life. This girl who he, at this point, had up on this big pedestal, and he couldn't do a thing to be with her because Mike was spending all the time with her. And this is perfect for Stranger Things to have this kind of a relationship because it would be very John Hughes-like. Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful, and Stranger Things constantly, often goes by 80s nostalgia. I mean, we had a bunch of references to horror movies in this season. So I would think a love and relationship thing, like something John Hughes would do, would be perfect for Will and Eleven. So, let's see. Oh yeah, and like I said, so at the pizzeria, he's watching her, he's looking at her, wishing, that he could be the one in the relationship with her. And you could probably point out too that maybe, even that could be a lingering effect left over from when Vecna was possessing him. Since she was kind of the focus of Vecna. Yeah, mainly for her power and stuff, but she was kind of a focus for him. And maybe that attraction, that draw to her, never really left. You know, it doesn't have to mean that he's gay. This is one of those times, one of those points where you want to know why people are so sick of woke culture. And yes, that's what it is. It's woke culture. The reason why people are sick of it is because they keep cramming it down our throats. They keep saying, you're going to like it, you're going to like it. And I disagree with any reviewer who says that to make Will gay would not be woke because, you already did that with Robin. You don't need to do that with Will. That's just the easy cop out. Nobody's going to care. Oh, big deal, woo. Will's gay. You took the easy road. Why don't you take the road where you actually say Will's in love with 11 and blow people's minds? Especially since everybody's thinking, oh, he's gay, and not many people are going to watch this, and not many people may share this, but maybe because of everybody focused on that, they should do this. And this would make sense. I have talked with several people who's like, yeah, you make a good point. That's a great point. She was instrumental in Will's life. And if you look at between season 3 to season 4, he spent almost a year living with her now. Getting to know her very closely. But the entire time they were living together, it's Mike this, Mike that. And he grew upset a little more each day. Why? I'm right here. He doesn't want to betray his best friend and steal his girl. But he also can't help but fall for this girl. That sounds kind of familiar. Oh, it sounds like an 80s John Hughes movie. So yeah, it's kind of perfect. So I said earlier that I would address the Vecna being in love with 11. I don't think it was a love of like, oh, I want to make love to you kind of a thing. I think it was, hey, you're about as powerful as me. Once you grow up and become a woman, if we have a child, that child would be insanely powerful. I think that was why he didn't kill her. Why he doesn't want to kill her. Even now, I think he just, before he got turned into a monstrous creature, I think he wanted her alive to join him, to, team up with him so that when they finally took things over, they could start the Power family. And that nobody would be able to touch them. She would be brainwashed thinking, oh, this man is the only one who's ever going to understand me. And I'm taking a side note here just because this reminds me of something. That, by the way, is also another reason why Will would be in love with 11. See, there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts to this that work together. But here, like I just said, is another part why Will would be in love with 11. Because of anybody in the world who's going to have some clue or inkling of what he's been going through in his life, it would be 11. Because she spent her life being poked and prodded more than Will. So Will being poked and prodded by the same people for a while, I'm sure, he could say, hey, yes, I understand you. Way more than Mike will ever understand you. But let's get back to the power couple thing. So I think Vecna is interested in 11 because he wants her to be, you know, that power couple with him. And now I think, he's just like, oh, well, now I have to kill her because, well, she ain't ever going to join me. She's a big obstacle, even though I also think he honestly, truly knows that deep down she's more powerful. But I don't think that she really is more powerful. I think it's a whole Harry Potter Voldemort kind of a power situation. Well, I really wish people would have joined in on this live stream, but I mean, we kept having people jump in, then jump out, jump in, then jump out. Yeah, we had that happen a couple times, and I got a couple retweets. So let's see what else. Oh, and one last factor, by the way, on the John Hughes romance relationship thing. Um, Another reason why that actually would work out so well is because of the fact that the two actors, Millie Bobby Brown, what is it, Noah Snap, I believe. From what I remember back when like season 3 was coming out, I watched some of the behind the scenes where they were interviewing the cast. Her and Noah were way closer than the any of the other kids. Like they all got along with the actor that plays Dustin. They all got along together, but I believe that in one interview they say specifically that her and Noah are constantly the power kids. Like they're always together. They're always the ones plotting and planning pranks. They're always the ones to make a joke. They were like best friends. And I always thought that was weird because it's like, well, isn't she supposed to be with Mike? You would think that she would have that chemistry more with Mike's actor, being they would have to spend so much time together. And she's never really met Will. You know, this is, like I said, before season 3. So, yeah, it was just very odd. And it's like, okay. We had one person jump in. I don't know. It's just so weird. It's like it shows one. I mean, I do have it pulled up for my purpose of being able to see the live stream. See if you guys ask any questions. So, but yeah, I really think that they would be a good couple together. That they would be perfect together. So if you have any questions or you have any thoughts, feel free to ask. Even if the live stream ends, um, and that people watch this on the rewatch. I would still love to hear your thoughts on what you think of some of my ideas and theories and some of the topics I've discussed here today. Because I definitely think I'm on the right track with all this, and it's, kind of interesting the way people look at Stranger Things season 4. Like I said, I cannot believe they cheapen Eddie's death so much, which really, to me, that's very upsetting because it's like, this is the same thing I keep talking about. I keep hammering home when I talk about Star Wars. There are clear and crystal clues. I mean, do the writers really have to grab the audience and say, here is your answer, right here in front of your face? They typically like to think their audience is smart enough to figure it out. And yeah, I can understand the frustration of getting baffled when your audience doesn't seem to have figured it out. When they can't pick up on the clues you left right there in front of them. I can understand. I mean, I have something in my book that I thought for sure would have everybody freaking out who read it and calling my first book a big mistake because there was such an errant plot hole. But there's not a plot hole. There's a reason. It's a question. And I did that. I didn't do that specifically to torture the audience, to torture my readers. But I did that kind of to find out who was paying attention. Because somebody, I was hoping, would have said, oh, this doesn't make sense. Wait a minute. He leans on it a little too much. Why is he leaning on it? Now that I've read it and I'm rereading it, I mean, if you just read it once, you're probably not going to catch it. Maybe you won't catch it. Unless you're very observant, which I would think people would be. But then, on a reread, you go back. And that's the thing that people have talked about with Stranger Things is now that we know Vecna is the bad guy who's been behind everything, which in my review video, I did say I think that is still the Mind Flayer, but I guess I looked at that wrong. I mean, those things were alive before Henry got there. That sand in the sky was moving around, and it was a big moving cloud of particles. And it existed before Henry, so it has some kind of life, some kind of consciousness. Maybe he could control that, but I don't know. And maybe it amped up his powers somehow. I don't know. It's still really confusing, but I mean, I get it. What people would think that, yeah, it's definitely Henry. But those things were already there and existing before. They might have just been peaceful, happy little creatures. But, I mean, we do not know the relationship between the Mind Flayer and Vecna, really. I mean, yeah, it does start to make sense that it is Henry, so I can buy into that. Even I'm not, I mean, I would have probably caught that on the second watch without people telling me, but sometimes it helps to hear different ideas, to hear different opinions from people. So just because I said something in this video, go back, rewatch it now with that in mind, and it will all make sense. Like I said, if you look at every scene where Will gets upset, it's always because Mike did something or Mike has to do something for 11, or 11 has done something in the past, or said something about Mike, and he wishes that it was him. Eddie's death. Quite clearly, he was trying to save our world. Even Dustin says, that he died a hero saving people, saving the town that hated him. Why? Because he was good. So, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting any questions. So, I guess I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream here. I really hope some of this helps sink in. I really hope that enough people will share this video to get the Duffer Brothers to hopefully look at it. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they look at every review that they can. I mean, if I had a big show like this, I'd be checking out as many reviews as I could, especially from the small people. Give them a boost. That would be cool. But yeah, I mean, seriously, what did you think? What were your thoughts? Did I open your eyes to anything new? Did I maybe change your opinions on anything? Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. If you have not yet, please consider subscribing. I know it's a pain to click the button, but it would absolutely mean the world to me and my daughter. We're so close to our first 100 subscribers. And whenever I get a new set of 10 subscribers, I actually give away free movie codes. So, and I don't even know if all the codes that I've given away in the past have been used. So if you check out some of my past videos where there are codes, I would start with the ones with the least amount of views and then work up. But you could probably get a free movie code because I keep asking people when I give them away to comment down below that they redeemed the code, or that these codes expire after a while, so it's not like they last forever. So some of them might have expired, some of them might have been redeemed. I don't know. People don't comment down below when they get them, so I try my best. I keep asking people to do it, but nobody does. So, but I hope that we will reach 100 soon. This Friday, Cora and I have another movie review. I think I'm gonna start making every Friday D&D reviews, unless she wants to skip a week. And then I probably will put something else in Fridays. I think I'm going to up my schedule to Mondays and Fridays. And maybe drop in a few surprises along the way. Maybe we'll live stream. Maybe we won't. Maybe she'll live stream and do Five Nights at Freddy's. Maybe she won't. It depends on how she's feeling, what she wants to do. She has her own stuff she wants to do. She doesn't always want to play Five Nights at Freddy's, which I keep telling her, it's like, well, once you beat that, we can move on to another game. I am not going to be one of those channels probably that ever will play a game, then play another game, then play another game, then go back to the first game and cycle through. I was like, no, if I'm playing that game today, guess what? We're live streaming it tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day, because I want to get through that game. I'm here to play the game I bought. And you guys want to see that more than you want to see me jump around. Like, I'm watching a channel that's playing The Quarry, and they're also playing Last of Us, and they keep jumping back and forth. And it's like, just play The Quarry. Just play The Quarry. I don't care about Last of Us. I had Last of Us, and it was only okay. It wasn't like the greatest. Everybody liked that game a lot. I don't understand. It was good. The first one was good. It was okay. I didn't even bother with the second one. Probably never will. So, anyways, this has been my live Q&A review and discussion about Stranger Things Season 4. I really enjoyed it. I think in Season 5, we are probably... I mean, everybody keeps... I've heard so many numbers thrown out. 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 8 years, 20 years. It's like, no. This show is in the 80s. It's going to be 1989. Even if it's right before the end of a new year, right before it turns into 1990, I'm pretty sure they're going to keep this in the 80s. So you're probably looking at, like I said, probably very late 1989. Probably around like December, like the whole month of December. It'll have to wrap up before Christmas or right after or right before New Year's. So that's my thoughts. And I'm pretty sure they're going to stay because this whole show has been centered around 80s nostalgia. So I don't think they're going to want to leave the 80s. I think it's only going to advance up to the year 1989. And I'm sorry, if Nancy is still with Jonathan at that point, I don't see her suddenly deciding to leave Jonathan for Steve. And she seemed perfectly content, perfectly fine and happy with Jonathan. I mean, Jonathan even asked her, "Are we okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, we are." You know? So I don't see them having an off-screen breakup. That would suck. That would be just a very low blow. I think in season 5, it will come down to she's got both guys are going to be running into danger, and whoever comes out alive gets her. And that will be by popular demand or reverse popular demand. It might be, oh, well, this guy's so popular and we're going to kill him off. I mean, people do that. So that's just my thoughts. I really do hope you enjoyed this. I do hope that people will comment. If you think I'm wrong about something I've said here today, feel free. I mean, please don't be mean about it. Just be like, hey, you mentioned this and you said this point, but this is why I disagree. Honestly, I think I'm pretty spot on with most of it, and especially with the Will and Eleven thing. I think all this time they've been spending together, he wished he could be with her. And I don't see how people can't see that. So, but like I said, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I just feel like the whole making Will gay is an easy cop out. An easy cop out that nobody really is going to care about. Why is nobody going to care? Because every show has tons of gay characters now. And people are getting sick of seeing it. It's not a matter of whether it's okay or not. It's a matter of we're just so sick of seeing it. So sick of hearing it. Do something different. Do something new. And I think giving us this relationship would definitely be different, would definitely be new. So, like I said, let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'd love to have a discussion. I will come back and do a whole nother live stream if people start actually discussing this and say they want me to do a live stream so they could actually be here. You know, I have to work in the evenings, but I got my afternoons where I can sit and do this, at least for now. So, anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you have not, please, like I said, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you like to read fantasy and sci-fi, something similar to Stranger Things or Harry Potter, definitely consider checking out my book series, The Guardian of Light. The first 5 books are available on Amazon right now. You can get them as an ebook or a paperback. The first 2 books are available on Audible. So, yeah, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all next time.